Hey guys, Aniso here, hope you're all having a great day. Today we want to talk about IO. Right now IO is in a really good spot. The changes they made to IO in 7.30 were incredible. If we take a look at the win rate right now, the win rate the last days was around like 53, 52% and today is even 57. There's one day with 48, but in general it is higher than 50% on most days in Immortal and Divine bracket. So this means this hero is actually really good. Usually IO is like a little bit below 50%. Even when IO is in a good spot, he is like below 50% because he's just hard to play and a lot of people just try him and fail because they're not used to playing him. So when the win rate is around 53 to even 57% today, that means IO is in a really good spot. So I would advise, if you want to learn this hero, learn him today. Learn him right now in this patch. So for the skill build, this is the skill build I would recommend. We max out Tether first, because Tether actually scales really well in the laning stage. With the recent buffs to Tether, this will just ensure that your carry is almost on full HP all the time, and that at the point where you get your mechanism and your magic wand, that you have the full healing capabilities. If you have level 1 Tether and maxed out Overcharge, your healing is actually pretty bad. Also, Overcharge just scales pretty bad. If you take a look at the points, the level 1 point is 50 attack speed, 10% spell amp and 0.5% max HP regen. Compared to at the last point, like you need to spend 3 more points to get a little bit more than double the attack speed. Not even double the spell amp and not even doubling the health regen. So the first point in the spell is really valuable, but the other points in the spell are actually not that good. Like the attack speed is nice if you can get a little bit more farm. But usually I think 1 point in Overcharge is enough and then you just max out stats. Why do we take stats instead of spirits? Spirits will only give you damage, but also they cost mana. IO doesn't have a lot of mana because he's not an int hero, he's a strength hero. So his mana pool is quite limited. And then you would need to ferry out a lot of clarities, or you need to buy items that give you mana like Soul Ring or Bottle, which we don't want to do because this means we can spend less items on less gold on actual healing items. And the damage of the spirit is not a lot anyway. So I would just recommend don't skill spirits at all. If you want, you can take 1 value point at like level 13, 14 for the vision, but that's it. Don't take the spirits for damage. Usually I just skip them until I've maxed out anything else and I can't level up any other thing anymore. So this is the skill build I would recommend right now. Also there's another build which is I call the Overcharge build. The build before is the max stats build and this is like the Overcharge build. This means we max out Overcharge at level 9 and then we skill stats. So basically we just swap around the 3 points of Overcharge with the 3 points in stats. You could potentially also swap around Overcharge and Tether like this. You could max. Oh wait, that's not right. Like this, you still won't get Tether level 1. And you could max out Overcharge level 7. I would only recommend this if you're playing POS 4 IO and you're playing with a really aggressive hero like Night Stalker. Like this is only for really aggressive plays. The attack speed is nice, but you lose so much healing. Also, you lose some movement speed. Like comparing 6% movement speed to 12% is actually a lot, especially in the early game. And then also we lose a lot of slow. Later I will show to you, you can actually block and slow people with IO like crazy. We would also lose this ability. So this is only good if you're playing with like a Night Stalker on the off lane as a dual lane, for example. But I would just not recommend this skill build at all. The skill build I would recommend for is the one I showed to you at first. And I just say always stick to the first one. Maybe sometimes get the second one, but we will talk about this pretty soon. The usual starting items are tangos, headdress and fairy fire. You could potentially build a bracer instead of headdress and fairy fire if you think that your lane will be really hard and that you would die a lot. Bracer is actually a pretty good item on IO. He's one of the few heroes. A bracer is a pretty good item. He's a strength hero, so he gains a lot of damage, which IO lacks, and he gains a lot of HP while also gaining HP regen that transfers to his partner. But usually I would recommend just go for the headdress build unless you really need the HP from bracer. The headdress will build into a mechanism, and then we also build a stick / wand. Usually you can wait with upgrading the stick to a wand after the mechanism, but if you're facing a lot of spammy heroes like a Bristleback for example, Phantom Assassin, Bat Rider, just upgrade the magic wand right away before the mech. Then for the other core items that we gain after mechanism and wand, it is Holy Locket and Shard. Those items are busted on IO. For Holy Locket I will explain to you later why. Aghanim's Shard. The Shard for IO is really nice. The Shard makes IO's tether gain 10% more movement speed for you and your tethered partner, which is a lot. So this means you can catch up to people way more, you can have way better positioning in teamfights. And also, every time someone runs through the tether, they get stunned, and they also take, I believe it's 150, maybe 175 damage. I'm not 100% sure. I think it's 150. But yeah, they get damaged and they get stunned if they run through the tether with 7 seconds cooldown. So the shard is really good. It just amps up your farm from your core. It just saves you so many times. Like usually people try to go on IO, they try to ignore your partner. And if they try to run past your partner, oftentimes they have to run through the tether, which means they will get stunned. So this is also a really good defensive item. It just makes it harder for people to go on you because you basically stun them when they go on you. Then some good late game items that you usually buy. Glimmer Cape is pretty nice. Eon Disc if you just get focused a lot. BKB later on. I buy BKB a lot on IO actually. It just gives nice stats, and the magic resistance makes you able to stay in the middle of a fight without getting like dumpstered by any spells. The Heart is a really good item on IO, especially combined with the HP talent on level 25. The thing is, it just costs a lot of gold. Like if you can somehow manage to get this item after you have a Locket, this is probably the best item. And Heart and Locket together heals for around like 300 HP per second for your tethered partner. The thing is just that it costs so much. Like, if you can somehow manage to get this, it is great. It is just so hard that you will rarely ever get it. For the other situational items, I think there's not much to tell. You can buy Urn, it's also pretty good to heal people and also to play aggressive. Usually I just get it when I plan on buying Spirit Vessel later. Then Pipe can be pretty good on IO after Mechanism and Locket if you need more magic resistance and just damage block for the team. Guardian Greaves, you can upgrade the mechanism later. I usually just get this when I have no slots left. And for the other items, I don't know, I think it's probably just self-explanatory. Lotus Orb if you need to reflect spells, Solar Crest if you need more attack speed on someone and more armor. For Aghanims and Sergeant Kaya, this is more like a core IO build. I want to include this here in the guide because in some games this can be helpful, but I don't know, it is like maybe 1 out of 100 games that you buy those kind of items. It's just with the level 25, with the level 20 talent, with the Spirit's damage and so on, you can deal a lot of damage technically. But usually I would just advise go for support items only, don't go for Aghanims and Sergeant Kairos. Like, it is possible, but it's not great. Like, your job is not to deal damages, especially not as +4 or +5. For the level 25 talent, if you take the attack tethered ally target thing, which basically makes you get off 3 attacks on every hero that your tethered partner is attacking, those items can be helpful. I will show them to you later in demo lobby. You can just apply the Desos, the lifesteals, the Skadi slow and whatsoever with this. But usually I also rarely ever get those kind of items. Most of the time the games just end before. So now for short theory crafting, I tried to keep this quick so you guys don't get bored, but if you want you can take a closer look at the numbers. So first of all, we have a comparison between the two builds, which is the stats build. Stats only build means we put 1 point in overcharge and we max out stats. And then overcharge build is putting in 4 points in overcharge and then we max out stats afterwards. So we are basically missing 3 points of stats, but we gain 3 more overcharge points in the right builds, like here and here. You can look at the values yourself. I don't want to read all of them. What I think is the difference. So this are the benefits and the losses we gain from the stat builds on level 9 and level 15. So basically what we gain is 120 HP more compared to the overcharge build, which translates into 11.8%. Same for level 15, you still gain the same amount of HP, it's just less percentage because we have more base stats. But let's be honest, this is nearly 12% more HP at level 9, which is in my opinion a lot. Like 120 HP is a lot. The only thing that we will lose, right? Like we lose benefits from overcharge. We have 60 less attack speed. For us and our partner, we have 6% spell lamp, which is honestly not a lot. Like it is, yeah, it is something, but keep in mind you still have 10% boosted. So compared to the 10%, the 6% that we lose for the 120 HP is actually not that much. And then the actual health healing we are missing per second is nothing. It is like 6.1 and then later on it is 9.4. This already takes into account the overcharge value of you amped up by tether and your partner. So this is not only the region we are missing on ourselves, but this is actually the healing on the tether target. Well, let's be honest, this is nothing. So the heal on overcharge is completely negligible. Like it just will never change any situations, if I'm honest. Like if you have 14% 14 health regen per second or 20, it probably won't change the outcome of the fight. So basically the real deal is between those two builds, if we want to have 120 more HP or 60 more attack speed. I would say go for the stats builds in like most games. Just when you're dead, you won't provide any attack speed, you won't provide any heal. And Io is a really squishy hero, especially in the early game. He doesn't have a lot of armor, so every HP he gets is really nice, especially because you get targeted a lot on Io. So now for the Holy Locket, I want to show to you what Holy Locket actually does and why it's such a strong item on Io. So usually the multiplier for a heal is 1.3. So if you get healed for 100 HP, your tether target gets healed for 130 HP. But with Locket, this is different. Because Locket, as you can see here, applies the heal amp before to the healing value to yourself. So let's say we get healed for 100 HP. First of all, Locket will amp this by 35%, which translates into 135% HP. And not percent, 135 HP, right? This will get amped up by the tether times 1.3. And then this value is considered the heal that your partner will get. So this will also get amped up again by Locket. So the heal that you get will get amped up twice by the Holy Locket, because it amps the heal to you, and then also the heal after the tether is amped up again, which is crazy. I don't know why this is still in the game. I just think this is crazy. If you compare the values, the multiplier without Holy Locket is 1.3 and then it is 2.37, which is nearly 2.4. So this is more than 100% more healing. This is crazy. If we look at the actual values, so for ourselves, let's take Mechanism. We have self-heal without Locket 275 and then 371. So basically 100 more healing for the self heal, but let's take a look at the partner seal. The partner seal without locket on the mechanism goes up from 632 to 1022. This is 400 more healing, which is like this nearly doubles the freaking healing of mechanism. This is so crazy. And then for stick and magic wand, by the way, magic wand also is the same value as holy locket on this, right? Because holy locket is basically a stick, like a full wand. So stick, if you heal someone with your magic stick full charges, instead of nearly 200 HP, it's 355. And then for the full wand, which is 20 charges, it is, instead of 390 with locket, it is 710. Like, just keep in mind those numbers. Like, this is crazy. Compared to the mechanism, on more targets, the locket does not provide as much as a mechanism by itself. But if we already have one healing item, which is the mech, then buying a locket just amps up our healing so much. Like, just keep in mind this. If we have mechanism and wand, we heal for around 1000 HP, right? Like 630, nearly 400. Yeah, this is like 1020 HP. But if you upgrade the wand to a locket, instead of healing like 1020 HP, you actually heal 1730 HP. So this is just basically 700 more healing, which is, in my opinion, so good. So this is really worth buying the locket on IO after mechanism. So now let's talk about the spells for IO and some general tips. First of all, the most important and iconic spell of IO is Tether. You can tether to someone, and they will gain bonus movement speed, and you will gain the same movement speed as them. So as you can see, this guy has 550 movement speed while tethered, and then I also have 550. If I break the tether, I'm back at my 320 move speed, and this guy has 467. If I tether him again, we both get 550. I think this is really good. You just always have the same amount of movement speed as this guy that you're tethered to, basically. Then, this is your healing spell also. If we damage this guy, as you can see, if I heal him with tether, he gains passive regen. Like, this is our passive regen with the multiplier times 1.3. If we lose mechanism, as you can see, this guy is insta full HP. He will get healed for like 1000 health there. So, overcharge, if you're tethered to someone and you use overcharge, you will gain additional health heal, and he will also gain additional. As you can see, the heal is pretty good with locket. So basically this just buffs up you and your core of attack speed, spell and heals all of you. So you should just spam this later on, like in the mid game. Also in the lane, you can use this a lot just to heal up your partner and just to get better traits. There's not a lot to explain here. There are some other things to explain from tether. So for example, tether, as you can see here, has a range, I think it's like 1700 that you can use tether from, which will pull you towards your tether target. This is really good for like escaping. If there's an enemy attacking you over here, you can just use this and you're out of the situation. You can even tether to creeps like this. This will save your life so many times if you keep this in mind. What you want to do, let your core run into one direction. Let your core run here, and then the X will chase you over here, and then you can just tether to your partner target. And then X is just in the complete other direction. Don't just run with your partner. Like, this will save your life so many times if you run in the complete other direction. Like, if your core runs right, run to the left, they will chase you, and then you can just tether to them. Next thing which is really important is the tether slow, and right now I have the shard, which also makes people get stunned and take damage. So as you can see, if someone runs through the tether, first of all they get stunned, and then they still get slowed. Like, the slow is really huge. As you can see, it's 45%, and also the attack speed is slowed by 45%. So if someone runs away, like if your core is chasing them, they run away, you can just block them like this. If they try to run, and it's so hard for them to escape because they are just perma-slowed by 45% HP, 45%. So now I want to show you how the level 25 attack tethered allies targets works. So for this case we have Medusa. There are also a lot of other heroes that this works. It's like Gyro, for example, but Gyro and Medusa probably being the best too. If your hero, like your tethered partner, has split shot on and he attacks all those axes here, as you can see, I will also attack them as IO. It doesn't matter what my range is. Even if I stand like over here, my attacks will still hit all of them that Medusa hits. So this will also apply its modifier. As we said before, if I have Desolator and this guy attacks them with split shot, all of them get the Desolator modifier. Same for like Eye of Skadi or Satanic. You can see here, everyone is getting slowed by the Satanic. This does not only apply to the main target, but to everyone, even without Medusa having the talent. So now for some early game gameplay. Usually on IO you just try to take trades. You don't want to commit for kills really hard, you just try to out-trade your opponents. So as you can see here, they are lower HP than us, and I just use the tango so we are full HP again. And then we try to harass them a little bit, and then when they overextend, we can go for a kill. Like here, for example, both are half HP, but we are full HP. So now let's take a close look at my positioning. I will slow this down. Take a look at my positioning, how I try to position myself so we can kill the Earthshaker, or at least get a better trade on Earthshaker. Earthshaker stands in my tether, right? Like right now he is slowed by the tether. And then I try to run this direction here. I try to run in front of him so he gets slowed for even longer, so Luna can get off more hits. Better does a nice play here, he lassos me into tower. But I'm pretty sure I won't die here. So what I say most IO players would do is just run back, and then Bedrider could chase them. But what I do here, I run into the complete other direction. So this way he thinks he can kill me. I still have my magic wand, and I just tether to Luna, so I get pulled towards her, and then I can use the magic wand. So this way I'm completely out of the fight. Like it is still close situation, but this is something that, as I said before, I do a lot. I just run in the complete other direction, people chase me, and I can tether to my laning partner. So another important thing that you want to do a lot on IO is you want to farm a lot of jungle camps together with your core in the early game, especially if you're playing with Luna. Luna probably the best hero with IO together, and like Luna and Gyro. So as you can see here, we pushed out the lane, and then we farmed this jungle camp on the left side, and now it is close to stacking creeps. Luna is farming this camp, and what I do, I stack those two camps for Luna while she clears this one camp. So right now we have those two camps stacked. You can see here, this one is up again. I just overcharge Luna, I give her more attack speed so she can clear this faster, and then I attack this camp to pull them towards Luna so she can just AoE them down more quickly. So this is basically what you want to do a lot, and then I just attack all the creeps that are not close to dying to help Luna farm. Okay, how do we actually save people? As you can see here, I want to pause pretty quick. As you can see here, the situation, there's a teamfight going on. We get echo slammed, and Pudge is really low HP. Like usually there's no way he survives, but what I do is I tether to him, I use Mechanism. He's still low HP, I use Overcharge right away, and then once he drops down to low HP again, I Magic Wand. So this way they think he dies, and we can bait them into a bad situation. And now we gain some kills out of this. If you take a close look on my positioning, over here I'm just in the back line all the time. I'm not even tethered to someone right now, I used all my heals, so don't really need to be tethered to someone. I put on my player perspective. Right now my overcharge is nearly up again. Now it's up, so I will tether to Luna again, because now I actually have a use. Before, without having overcharge ready, I basically just want to stay in safe positions. This is a mistake a lot of IO players do. Don't just stay tethered 100% of the time to your core. A lot of the times you just want to wait behind, and then you want to tether onto the one that that they go on, and then you can heal them up. Like if you run into the team fight tethered to your ally, you will just die a lot of the time. So don't stay tethered to your main target the whole game. So now I want to show you guys a team fight and how to take advantage after we won a team fight. Here we initiated on Bad Rider, but Pat died. So now Luna is coming in, she cleans up. Also Legion will come in pretty soon, and then we just rape them. So we kill Lena here. You can see Bad Rider is low HP, like half HP. He already used Lasso in the fight. So we won the team fight. What can we do now? What are our options right now? Like we only see Bad Rider. We know that the Juggernaut is also like low HP. She has half HP. He's over here somewhere. He will probably run back to base. So we just won this team fight. Now we want to try to get a lead out of this team fight. We want to try to force any objective stuff. Io is one of the few heroes that can still do this. Like right now, if you take a look at the waves, this wave is not close to the enemy tower, this wave is not close to the enemy tower. Like if we run all the way through here, and then we try to push this wave into here, basically once we are here, Earthshakers already respawn, they healed up, and then we can't really pressure the tower. But what we can do is we can relocate here. Here's even a siege wave, and this is close to the tower. So what I immediately will do is, I realize I can check the map, we see if we can maybe get a kill over here. But then I realized we can't get a kill anymore, and then I relocate here. So we can push out this wave. What this does is it will create split pressure over here. We don't really need to hit the tower, we just want to create pressure onto the tower. Like we want to force people here. Bad Rider, like once we relocated here, Bad Rider had to go over here. And then we relocated back bottom. And now we can basically just free farm here because we forced the TP top. So this is something I do a lot. I don't only use relocate to save people, but I use it a lot to like split push on other lanes. Sometimes I even relocate behind towers. So for example, if I see like 4 or 5 people trying to push the tier 1 or like our tier 2 here, I just relocate over here at like 30 seconds or full minute when the creeps spawn. We clear this one creep wave and then we relocate back. Just to defend the split push. Like this is something you can use relocate for, to clear waves. Don't only use it to join team fights or to save people. You can use this to apply a lot of split pressure. Here we can see a really defensive use of relocate and how we can save people. There will be a team fight coming up pretty soon. Silencer is using some spells. Dragon Knight uses the ultimate. He gets rolled on by Pangolier. And as you can see, check out my positioning. I stay in the back and now I use relocate over here. I see that this guy is still low. I have mechanism and magic wand. I use my relocate over here. I don't relocate into base because we're still some other people here and I see my carry coming. So maybe we can still fight. I just want to save this guy. I don't want him to die. So what I do is I relocate here, and then shortly before my relocate is finished, I tether to him, I use mechanism, and then I just bring him to here. So basically like this, he's out of danger range. You don't always have to TP people back to base. You can just, a lot of times, just reposition them a little bit backwards in the fight to heal them up again. And then maybe we can still fight. Like here you can see, we are still fighting. And we get a kill here. Put on my player perspective again. I just tether to the Dragon Knight again. And basically just heal him up. Now I use Salve. Yeah, so as you can see, you don't always need to relocate to base. A lot of the time, when there's a team fight going on, you just want to relocate them outside of the team fight in safe range, but so they can still play. The thing is, what I have done a lot of times at first is just relocating people to base. And if there is a chance that you could still team fight after you save someone. If you relocate to base, this basically means that there are only 3 people at max, because you are in base and the one you just brought to base is in base. So this means this is a 3v5 for your team. But if you just relocate them out of the fight, like barely from here to here, just to heal them up again, you can just join instantly again with your partner. And then it is a 5v5. It is not like 3v5 for the rest of your team. This is really important. Like if you always relocate people out to base, while there's a team fight going on, a lot of the time the rest of your teammates will just die. And then once you come back relocate, because your whole team is already dead, you will also die. So this way is just a better way of using relocate if you have enough healing. Like if you have mechanism, maybe a salve, magic wand ready, still every healing item to go, you can just relocate them out of the fight instead of fountain. So for the last clip, I want to show you guys how we approach high ground on IO. This is like a 5v5. We have ages, but the game is pretty close, as you can see, 32 to 29. And now look at my positioning. I tether to the guy that is hitting the buildings, which on our team is Slug. And I just try to stand at like max range. Like this is max range tether. I don't want to stay like over here with this guy. I have all my healing things ready. I have mechanism and holy locket. I just come so close to this guy that he can like move a little bit. But the goal is to hit this objective, right? We don't want to dive. So I don't want to stay near him. I want to stay at max range so I can always help him without dying. If I would stay here, then maybe Tiny could just dump me with dagger. I would just get X'd by Conker and I would die. So this is really important. Always stay at max range with your tether when your core is hitting the buildings. Don't be the one that's trying to hit the buildings. Like, yes, I do like 118 damage, but compared to the Slug who does like nearly 400 damage, it's just not worth it. Like if you die, it is not worth it. You can't save your carry. Now we take a look at the partners that we want to lane with IO. It is, first of all, it's the carries. It is Lunar and Gyro. Both of them have a mix between magic and physical damage. Also, they're really fast farmers. Those are probably the best two heroes with IO right now as a carry in the current patch. Like our overcharge will give them more attack speed and also more spell amp. So this amps up Lunar's Eclipse, Lunar's Lucent Beams, Gyro's Rocket Barrage. Also both of them have like really high movement speed, which is really nice with IO together. So those are probably the strongest carries you can pick with IO right now. And then the next few heroes are Medusa and Sven. Both of them are really tanky. Both of them are like big meat shields for IO. They can just guard IO. They can zone enemies from IO while you heal them. It is like impossible to take down a Medusa with an IO behind. Also the split shot from Medusa scales with your level 25 talent. It is just really nice to buff up Medusa. Like Medusa is usually pretty weak in the early game, and having like a steroid like overcharge to make her not die and to farm faster is great for Medusa. For Sven is also a great carry because he buffs up IO with Warcry. IO has high strength gain, but his armor sucks. So Sven's spell will give bonus armor, 15 bonus armor if maxed out on Warcry, which is a lot. So if you tether to Sven and he uses Warcry, usually both of you will survive every single team fight. But then we have Juggernaut. Juggernaut really benefits from the movement speed from tether in lane, so he can spin down people, and also the healing ward is great. Like if you tether to Juggernaut and he just sends the healing ward on you, dude, you just heal for absurd amounts. Like this is so crazy, especially if you siege high ground with the healing ward. It's incredible. And we have Ursa. If Ursa goes for like a 2-0-2 build, like 2 points in clap and 2 points in his Fury swipes, it's just incredible strong lane. Like you will still give him more movement speed with tether, you will give him the attack speed he needs, and he can just run down people like crazy. For the off lane we have Night Stalker, just really strong hero. Every time when it's night, he already has a lot of movement speed and attack speed, and he will benefit from the overcharge attack speed a lot. IO will also gain the high movement speed from Hunter in the Night. Right? Like you get the same movement speed for the from the target that you tether to, so both of you will be at like max movement speed the whole time, and you're just like a killing machine. Legion is pretty nice. Just a really strong laner. You have the heal, the dispel. If he heals you, He will also get healed. Same for the Abaddon. Just like Abaddon can also shield you, heal you, and heal will get healed. And then we just have CK as a fourth one. This is a classic combo. CK IO is not as strong as it used to be, but it's still fine. Like CK is just overall a strong hero. And if you give him more attack speed, combined with like the tether movement speed and him just being like a really solid laner, you will just overall have a really good lane and a good start into every game. So to end the video, I want to give you guys some final advice. First of all, I want to say don't get disappointed if you lose some games on this hero, especially if you're completely new to playing Iroh. This hero is not as easy as like a Crystal Maiden. It takes a lot of practice. You need to manage the resources of you and also your laning hero as well. This takes some time to get used to, but it is a lot of fun once you have learned this stuff. Also, some major mistakes I see a lot on IO players is they stick to their tethered target 100% of the time. And this is something you definitely want to avoid. You don't want to run behind your core for the whole game. You also want to give your core solo experience, especially if you're playing with this Lunars, Dusas, Gyros, right? Those heroes, they benefit a lot if you leave them for a few minutes, and maybe not a few minutes, but like for a certain amount of time, and you prepare some stacks for them, for example. Right, like Lunar and Gyro especially, they also farm faster if they have more levels. So after you've secured them a good laning stage, maybe you go to the jungle and you do some stacks while giving them a few waves of solo experience. Also, you don't need to sit behind them farming every single stack. Don't just AFK follow your guy. Like if you're actually helping them to farm faster with overcharge, you can do this, but you don't just want to AFK follow your carry around for the whole game. That's not what you want to do, because this will just make him get half experience basically. Like your job is to give your carry a good game and not to just leech all his experience. So if you think you're helpful and you're helping him, like you can take more aggressive farm when you're behind him, for example, then it is fine. But if he just hits AFK jungle camps, don't just stay tethered to him the whole time. Do some other stuff on the map. Go put some wards, go stack some other camps, help your other teammates, whatever. Don't just stay tethered to one guy the whole game. Also, in teamfights, don't just run in. Wait behind your teammates and then tether to your core to heal them up after the enemies have used their spells. You are like a counter initiator. You are not the one that is like running into the fight with your Luna, with your Gyro in melee range just to die. You want to wait for them to lose like 70% HP and then you tether to them and heal them to full, and then you can turn around the fight. So thanks for watching the video. Have a nice day, guys. See you.